Almost no one knows what a majority vote is. Why do I say this? Because when I do live trainings on parliamentary law, I almost always ask the following question, and everyone almost always gets it wrong. Take a look at the question and see if you get it. What does majority mean? A, 51%, B, half plus 1, C, more than half, or D, any of the above? What would your answer be? The responses are usually pretty evenly split across these choices, but only one of them is correct. The correct answer is more than half. Just those three words, more than half. The other choices on the list are wrong, but not only are they wrong, they actually change the vote requirement. And this can lead to confusion and arguments over whether or not a particular motion was adopted or lost. It also affects whether or not a particular candidate is elected. So it's very important to get it right. And to get it right, we need to fully understand why the other choices are wrong. By the end of this video, you're going to know exactly what a majority vote is, and you'll be able to determine the accurate outcome of any majority vote with confidence. Before we get to that though, I've also made a video explaining exactly what a 2/3 vote is, and that one is even more complicated. But after watching that video, you'll be able to look at any voting result and know instantly whether it's adopted or lost by a 2/3 vote. And you'll be able to do that without a calculator, without doing any division, and without using fractions, because I'll give you a simple method that works every time, instantly. The link to that video is down in the description. Now let's get back to the reason you're here, to understand a majority vote. So why were those other descriptions of a majority vote wrong? First, let's look at 51%. Many people use this as their definition of a majority, but let's see how quickly it fails. As we know, the true definition of a majority vote is more than half. Let those be your favorite three words, more than half. Let's say 1,000 members vote. How many votes do we need in the affirmative to adopt the motion? Well, what is more than half of 1,000? To figure this, we need to know what half of 1,000 is. Just right off the top of my head, I get 500, so let's go with that. So if half is 500, what would more than half be? Anything over 500. So would 507 be a majority of 1,000? Yes, it would. Would 507 votes in the affirmative adopt the motion if 1,000 votes were cast and it required a majority vote for adoption? Yes, it would. Now let's look at 51%. What is 51% of 1,000? The answer here is 510. So let's ask the same questions. Would 507 be 51% of 1,000? No. And would 507 votes in the affirmative adopt the motion if 1,000 votes were cast and 51% was required for adoption? Of course, the answer here is no. So we see how you define a majority vote can actually change the outcome of the vote. We were using 1,000 votes in that example because it's the simplest to see. But the same thing happens with much lower vote totals. For example, if we have 99 votes cast, a majority would be anything over 49.5 because half of 99 is 49.5. So 50 votes would adopt the motion. If we use the 51% method, we would need 50.49 votes, which means if we don't have fractional voting, it would actually take 51 votes to adopt the motion. We can even go down as low as 51 votes cast and still see this same effect. With 51 votes, a majority vote would require anything over 25.5, meaning that 26 votes would be necessary to adopt the motion. 51%, however, would give us 26.01, meaning that we would need 27 votes. You may be wondering about rounding off those fractions and how that works. What do you do when the vote requirement turns out to be a fraction? Well, I made a video about that too, and I'll post a link down in the description when it's ready. So that covers majority versus 51%. But what about half plus 1? Doesn't that work? Let's take a look. We'll start off again with majority vote, which means more than half. And let's say we have a small board, so we only have 7 votes cast. What is more than half of 7? First, we have to ask ourselves what is half of 7. You should come up with 3.5, so anything over 3.5 would satisfy the vote requirement. Would 4 be a majority of 7? Yes, it would. Would 4 votes adopt the motion? Yes. Now let's look at half plus 1 and see what happens. What is half plus 1 of 7? Well, once again, we start with half of 7, which is 3.5. Then we add 1, and we get 4.5. So would 4 be half plus 1 of 7? No, it would not. Would 4 votes adopt the motion if 7 votes were cast and it required half plus 1 to adopt? No. So once again, we see that trying to define a majority vote can actually change the vote requirement and change the result of a vote. And this flaw occurs with any odd number. So remember, when you hear majority vote, think of those three words: more than half. Not 51% and not half plus one, just more than half. But wait, what if there's a tie? What happens if you have 12 in favor and 12 against? Well, I made a video on that. The link is in the description, and I'll see you over there. If this video is helpful, please let me know in the comments below, and let me know if you have any questions or would like for me to cover any other topics. I look forward to hearing from you. Thanks for watching.